here is the book. It is called MOO LAH GY, and I have it tabbed because I'm going to go through this with you, but it's quite an easy read. The first thing I wanted to share with you is that it's really an easy read. Throughout the book, I have put in almost 150 images to help explain conceptually what I'm talking about within the book. And a lot of people have given me very positive feedback about that, specifically because some of it can get a little bit heady. So first of all, what does the title mean, MOO LAH GY? It's actually explained in the very first part of the book, but I wanted to just share my ideology behind it. First of all, it's a play on words. Moo references a cow, and as you can see, my cover is a back end of a cow, and then on the front, or the back, is the front end of the cow. So why in the world would I reverse it? Well, because back in the day, cattle ranchers would brand the rear of their cows and their cattle with a symbol to differentiate their cattle from their neighbors as they would openly graze in the fields. And so that's how the word branding originated, was from that. Then MOO LAH references money, and the GY is the psychology behind making money through brand. So MOO LAH GY together talks about how you can make money by investing some time and resources into branding. So let's dissect it quickly for you. So MOO LAH GY is uncovering the secret cash cow hidden in your brand. A lot of people don't understand what branding means and why they should invest any of their marketing dollars or any of their business budget in branding in particular. And so this book helps dispel some of the mystery behind it, and also provide, again, sort of a one-stop resource, a brand and marketing primer, to help people go one place to get the answers to the questions that they don't even know to ask. So let's go through it just really quickly. As I mentioned, the first chapter, chapter number 1, is Fish Where There Are Fish. You love that? Fish where there are fish. Basically, in chapter 1, what we talk about is, what is a brand, right? Like, why should anybody care? What does it mean? And how can it impact their business? Then we talk about the architecture of a brand, the pieces and parts of a brand that you need to be concerned about, and then the difference between a brand and a product, because they are not one and the same. Chapter number 2 is, Are You In or Are You Optional? And this is really the heady chapter. This is the chapter that a lot of people want to skip over in their business. They want to just jump right to the really fun stuff. But this chapter is critical to create a foundation so that you know what you're going to be talking about, what you look like, and how you're going to convince an audience to choose you as the preferred solution. So we cover what's a business plan, the mission statement, the value proposition, a SWOT analysis. If anyone has ever heard of the SWOT analysis or haven't, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as you compare yourself against the competition. We also talk about a customer persona. Do you actually have one? That's really helpful to people when they are trying to spin up messaging, because remember, you want to speak to your audience, right? And then talk about the competition, whether that's the competitive analysis or just doing some research on them to figure out who's in your space and what are they doing well. Where are some room, there's some opportunity or room to be able to take some market share. And then differentiation, right? You against your competition. What does that look like? What does that sound like? And ultimately, what does it feel like to your customer? Okay? Chapter 3, pick a lane. So chapter 3 talks about the difference between personal and corporate brand. If I get asked anything, it's this the most, is what is the difference between a personal brand and a corporate brand? And then, of course, we tap into the power of 3. So that's image, its voice, and its promise. You really need to define those 3 things, because that formulates your brand, and that's then what gets communicated outwardly. The next chapter, one of my favorites, You're Not a Graphic Designer and neither is your cousin Sue. So basically what that means is I speak with so many founders and entrepreneurs who share with me that they've created their own logo, or they had their cousin Sue do it through clip art, or they've gone to a couple of places online that can create your creative elements relatively inexpensively. And what I want to caution you on is that is a slippery slope, because how you are perceived is in fact truth in the consumer's mind until proven otherwise. And so if you short yourself on design, that is going to be really concerning in a lot of ways, because of the fact that you're going to be perceived probably very differently than you had hoped. And so in chapter 4, it's a very, very long chapter. It's everything you wanted to know about design. Logo, color, typography, imagery, the importance, what to look for in each case, but also the creative brief. A lot of people say to me that they think a creative brief is only relevant to some of the bigger agencies, right? That the bigger agencies do creative briefs, and that isn't entirely true. We all benefit from a creative brief, and I'll just briefly describe what that is. You want to put together a small summary of the creative project, and you want to communicate that to your graphic designers or your creative team, whomever you are bringing on your project, to get an actual work product done. So whether that's a logo or a brochure or an ad, you want to give them sort of the summation of that project. Otherwise, you leave it up to their devices to come up with what they think would be best. And we also talk about graphic designers, the importance of having one in your arsenal, how to choose them, what to look for in a graphic designer, and then the brand style guide. That is your playbook of your brand. You really want to invest some time in creating a brand style guide, because that's the tool that you are going to give to all of your independent contractors or your team, whoever is working on your website, your collateral material, anything brand related, anything that goes outwardly to a targeted audience. So you really need that document. It's very, very valuable, and my book actually helps describe that. Then chapter 5 talks about it's a no until it's a yes. This is a really great chapter because it's all about getting the yes. You know, most of us are not naturally gifted in sales, right? So we need something to help compensate for that deficit. Branding is a great tool for doing that, because through branding you can connect dots, and we talk a lot about that in the book. Is how do you connect dots? How do you define your big idea? How to create buzz, and how to create a communication strategy that will get you noticed. It also touches on using social media and the power of social media, and then the difference between branding and marketing. There's a huge difference between the two, and I wanted to communicate that in the book so that you understand the difference, and then you're able to apply accordingly. And then the last chapter, Where the Rubber Hits the Road. That talks about the marketing plan. It talks about the importance and the power of networking. It talks about events and what opportunity costs are associated with any time away from you sitting in your desk, making calls and trying to convert leads. What is experiential marketing, and how can you apply that to your business? We talk about a brand audit, and finally, we discuss the difference between a refresh, a rebrand, and repositioning. So that is MOO LAH GY in a nutshell. I'm really excited to bring this book to the market to help entrepreneurs and small business owners really understand the power of brand. It's been endorsed by a couple of my favorite people, and it's out there. So if you want to learn more, if you have questions, certainly ping me. But if you want to learn more, I have attached the link, moolahgy.com, and you can find out more about the book and see if it is a fit for you. Until next time, bye-bye.